Hello, everyone. My name is Debbie Hayes from debspets.com, and I wanted to do a little, I guess, disclaimer this evening because the lady who was anticipated to be our speaker tonight has an emergency with one of her pets and had taken to the vet, and the only appointment they could get was this afternoon slash evening. So Dyanah, who was scheduled to be next week, is going to be our speaker today, and she will be introduced in a minute by our host, David. But I do want to say that we do want all of our pets to live as long as possible, but we also want them to have a healthy life. So that's how debspets.com came about as a subdivision of another company. And we are always looking for the best for our pets. And Dyanah is going to address that as far as fireworks this evening. So thank you and enjoy the show. Take it away, David.
All right, so welcome, Dyanah. We appreciate you filling in on short notice. This stuff does happen, obviously, in this world. But Dyanah is certified in pet nutrition, and she also does holistic pet care. I think that's fascinating because I've gone very holistic myself as a human. I can see why it's very important for our pets. What got you into the holistic part of it? Dyanah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, what got you into the holistic part of it?
I'm sorry, say that again. What got me into it?
Yeah.
My own story. I was diagnosed with cancer, and I went the holistic route in the beginning because it was during COVID, and it was during a time when everything was taking 30 days before they could decide whether you could be operated on or not. And I took the Coriellus versicolor mushroom for those 30 days, about 3 times what the normal dose is. And when they finally called me and told me I had been approved for surgery and I went in for my blood work, I was in remission. And it was an amazing story, but it really solidified, and I planted my flag in, we really need to be holistic for ourselves, but also for our animals. We're over vaccinating. I worked with a woman the other day that had her dog on 10 meds, including Prozac. And we were able to get the dog off every med except for 1 or 2 heart meds that the dog had to have. Got the dog on some all natural things, and the dog's doing great. And she's saving a little over $450 a month now.
That's awesome.
The dog's doing better. That's the good thing. Yeah, so that's what really made me plant my flag into looking at what we can do for animals holistically, exactly like what we can do for humans.
Yeah, absolutely. Anthony, I didn't mean to jump over, but I was like, I gotta ask this question. But good to see you again, brother. What do you got for Dyanah?
Man, I'll forgive you this time, but next time you're in a lot of trouble, Mister. We don't. I may not be the real Santa, but I have access to him, and it won't be good. So that's how you got into doing holistics for yourself. That's interesting that happened during COVID. Debbie mentioned in her opening about fireworks, and obviously the 4th of July is right around the corner. We're about a week and a half away from a great celebration. And really, I mean, the 4th of July is a great holiday. We all mostly love it, but it's not good for our pets. It's not mainly our dogs. So talk a little bit about that. Why do dogs hate them so much?
I could go on forever. First of all, thank you for this platform. And it actually worked out really well that we could come on this week instead of next week, because we really want to give people time to prepare for the 4th of July. The 4th of July is the number 1 day for runaway pets. It is also the number 1 day that our shelters are full. They're full because the dog just ran. Now, 50% of dogs have noise-related phobias. Their sense of hearing is about 4 times as sensitive as ours. They can detect much quieter sounds than we can, and they can detect frequencies twice higher than we can. So the level of noise that happens during fireworks can trigger the stress and or the flight or fight syndrome that all animals have. It's an impulse that kicks in. They go into the avoid, escape, and they're threatened, and they just want to run. In some cases, they may have had some kind of a negative experience with loud noises. You never know. Some breeds are more sensitive than others. Cairn Terriers, Pembroke Welsh Corgis, and most mixed breeds pups are a little bit more sensitive to fireworks. Your Labs, your German Shepherds, they're usually the least scared of fireworks. But when the fireworks start or when the flashing lights start, it's terrifying for them. And all they want to do is run. They don't know what else to do. And you might think, well, they're in my house. They should be happy here. It's their environment. No, they just want to run. In the Vegas Valley, we had a pup a couple of years ago, a pit bull, who ran into the door so many times that he broke his snout.
Ooh.
So think about being so scared and so startled that you would literally smash your face into a door to try to get out of a safe place that was his home, because it's what triggers. It's a natural instinct for them. So yeah, that's why they hate fireworks.
They should probably be honest about their feelings, huh?
Yeah, really.
Don't hide them.
Yeah.
Gotta wear them on their collar, right?
Yeah. What can we do as responsible pet owners to keep these kind of visceral reactions from happening?
There's a lot you can do. There's so much you can do. First of all, plan ahead. I mean, that's a really important thing. This is a bad day for our fur babies. Don't leave your pup alone. I can't tell you how many people go, oh, I'm not sure if my dog's afraid. We're at the fireworks show. He's at home. Well, this is when destructive behavior can happen. This is when dangerous behavior can happen. This is when a dog can, eat your leather couch. This is when a dog can push his face into the door so many times that he breaks his snout. This is when a dog can look for something somewhere to escape, and injuries can happen. So you do need to focus on their safety. It's really, really critical. If you're going to go to an area where there's no fireworks, I applaud that. I hear many, many people say we pack our dogs up in the car, we take them off to where there are no fireworks. And I love that. I think that's a really generous, good pet parent thing to do, but that's not realistic for all of us. Put on music that's calming for your pet. Exercise the heck out of them during the day so that they're tired. Lower the blinds. These flashing lights literally can almost cause seizures because something's going on and they know what's going on. There are things called thunder shirts. You can wrap your dog in a thunder shirt. Also, you can use a swaddle. A swaddle's a great thing to do. But I think most importantly, as pet owners, we have to keep our reactions low. We can't start stressing out because they feel that. They can detect our anxiety. And that really, it can heighten their fear. Again, secure the doors, secure the windows, make sure that, they're going to look for a place to escape. Make sure that they're microchipped, but above and beyond microchipping, a visible current phone number on their tag in case they do get out. Maybe one of the neighbors can get them home before your local dog pound has taken them to doggy jail. And make sure that you take them outside on a leash. This is probably the most important thing you can do, even in a confined backyard. They should be on a leash. Those fireworks are scaring the crap out of them. They just want to run. And you think, oh, he's in my backyard, he's going to be fine. We had a little dachshund in Boulder City, little tiny dachshund, scale a 6-foot wall when he heard the fireworks go off and just took off running. The family couldn't believe it. They were like, Why would he leave his own yard? Well, they're not thinking straight. It's the flight or fight syndrome. Get me out of here. Get me somewhere where these noises are not happening. This little Doxy, thank goodness, ended up in doggy jail and had to spend the night. Better than in a coyote's mouth, or better than under a wheel of a tire, right? So yeah, we have to just remember, boom, it's scary, it's terrifying. And those dogs just don't know what to do, and they're not going to listen to your commands. I don't care how well they're trained. Instinct is going to take over, because their instinct is what they live by. So yeah, so it's important that you just be prepared, think ahead, be ready for it.
Yeah, that's a great point, because I've always had dachshunds, and my friends would always throw a big barbecue and ask me to grill for them, and then they'd do all the fireworks, right out in the street, right throughout the whole neighborhood. And it was, the first year I went, I had all three of them, and one was still a little tiny puppy, and that really did freak them out. They started panicking. They were on a leash, of course, because there were about 40, 50 people, and I didn't want to lose track of where they were. And but yeah, super important to have them on a leash. And I did learn, took some of that kind of advice previously. On the next year, I did bring them, because they were in a slightly different neighborhood, but same area. And but I wore them out. I took them to the creek. I made them swim. I got them, just worn out and tired. And then this time I brought their kennel with them, and nice blankets, and so they were getting their little hot dog bites from everybody, and just sitting in their kennel, just happy as could be. So yeah, that's how I kind of solved that problem.
Well, and you just brought something up. 4th of July is a great time for family gatherings. It's a great time where there's lots of food, there's lots of new smells, there's, that in itself can stress out a dog. But also people feeding them lots of goodies like hot dogs and things that they might not normally get, they're already stressed out, they're already amped up, and now we've added weird foods to their little belly. So, you want to make sure that you're really supervising what people are giving them, and making sure that the trash isn't accessible to them, because, they can kind of get lost in the shuffle. And next thing you know, they're digging through the trash and eating all kinds of stuff that might not be so good for them.
Yeah. Right. We have a question on YouTube about the swaddle. First of all, what is a swaddle? But is it like similar to what you'd use on an infant when an infant?
Exactly. Swaddle them. Just take a towel, take something, and wrap them up and hold them, and just give them that sense of security. That's what the thunder shirts do. And if you don't have a thunder shirt, but you have a swimming life jacket, you can actually use a swimming life jacket very much like a thunder shirt. Wrap it nice and tight. It just gives them a little extra sense of security, little extra comfort. It's a really, really good way to calm them down a little bit.
Okay, cool. Now, what is the difference between a thunder shirt and a swaddle?
Well, thunder shirt is something you actually buy. It's called the thunder shirt. I think that's actually the name of it. And it's a special shirt with all kinds of Velcro and all kinds of straps, so you can secure them nice and secure. The swaddle is just using something you have at home. I've seen people take a sheet and wrap a sheet around them. I've seen people do it with a blanket. Just like you said, just like a baby, swaddle them up. Yep. When you swaddle a baby so they can't move, they tend to just go to sleep.
Yeah, I was trying to find Peyton's thunder shirt, and I can't find it. Right now it's buried.
Oh yeah, you have one. Yeah, it's incredible. They really do work.
Yeah. Yep.
And there's a lot of other things that we can do to calm these animals down. I mean, there's essential oils. Be careful with your oils, because there are some oils that aren't good for animals. You can absolutely have your veterinarians give you a medication. But remember, those medications are hard on their liver, hard on their kidneys, and there are so many natural things. We have chill doggies, which you can order from debspets.com. And if you order them today or tomorrow, they'll be there in time. Those are all natural herbs with lion's mane mushroom that just takes the dog down a few knots. You can also do things like CBD. Be careful though with your oils and CBD that you're not doing anything that's peppermint flavored, because that's not so good. And just remember that this is a time when their immune system's going to get nailed because they're scared, they're stressed out, all kinds of anxieties happen. So again, if you're doing any immunotherapy or mushroom therapy or anything with your animals, this is a good time to up it a little bit, because just like us, when we get into a stressful situation, we too, our immune system can take a little bit of a hit. So it's the same thing with the pups. But again, remember that for at least 24 to 48 hours after fireworks, your dog is on heightened alert, like DEFCON 5. And every tiny little noise could send them back into the flight or fight syndrome. So we have a Friday night, 4th of July, which means we're going to have Friday night, we're going to have Saturday night, possibly even Sunday, with people letting off fireworks, hooping and hollering and lots of noise. Make sure that at least through the next Tuesday, you are keeping that dog on a leash when you're in the backyard, because something as simple as a car backfiring or a gunshot, hopefully we don't have a gunshot, but it can happen, or a last minute firework can send them flying over your fence and run through the yard and possibly get hit by a car. So they will be on heightened alert, and it's a natural thing. It doesn't mean that you have a bad animal. It doesn't mean that you have an animal that needs to be punished. The last thing you want to do when your dog is going crazy is to yell at him. And believe me, we've all felt like that. I have a dog that will run in circles and bark and whine for hours. He'll run till he faints. I've gotten used to give him chill doggies early in the day. First I wear him out, then I give him chill doggies a few hours before it starts, and I pretty much just knock him out. I'd rather him be sleeping. Maybe he'll whimper a little, swaddle him, and just talk to him calmly. The last thing that you want to do is yell at your dog to be quiet when this natural instinct is taking over.
We also have another comment that says Melaleuca oil isn't good either. I'm not sure what that is, but if you
Melaleuca, a lot of people have said it's good for pets. I'm not an oil expert. I know that there are some really good oils out there, but you want to make sure you're doing your research, and you want to make sure that you're not giving your dog something that is going to cause a problem. We had a kitty cat recently that someone had suggested an oil, and the oil might have been good for the dog, but the problem was it was a peppermint flavor, peppermint flavored. I had heard the person suggesting it, and I feel really bad to this day that I didn't jump in and say, hey, wait, I think that's got peppermint in it. But it really wasn't any of my place at the time, but now hindsight being 2020, I should have said something. And then about 5 hours later, I see a post on Facebook that this guy's at the veterinarian hospital with his cat who's having convulsions and seizures, and he doesn't know what's wrong with her. And I jumped in and said, look, I think that what you gave him had peppermint in it, and they immediately told the vet. They were able to do whatever they were able to do and save the cat's life. But you do have to be very careful with using things like that. And, I've heard people that say, oh, I'm going to give my dog Benadryl. Benadryl will knock him out. Well, yeah. I mean, it's hard to liver, hard on the kidneys. And how do you know what the dose is? And yes, the vet can give you all kinds of doggy downers and little doggy volumes and all of that. But, when we have natural ways to do things, we really owe it to our animals to give them the right things that are natural. It's just really important.
Yeah, and to clarify, with the Melaleuca oil, that's the tea tree leaf oil.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Now, forgive me, you might have already explained this. I've got kids running in and out. My dog.
Okay, I love it.
I'm actually quite more distracted than normal on here. My kids are running in and out. My dog was baying and barking and all kinds of things.
It's life, man. It's life.
So you might have already addressed this, but the chill doggies. A couple questions about the chill doggies. A couple from YouTube and the one from me. What exactly are they? Are these your product? Expound on them a little bit. Where do you get them from?
Okay.
How many of them are you giving to your dog? Is it based upon weight, or whatever? And how long before the fireworks start would you start giving them?
Excellent question. So, what are chill doggies? Chill doggies is a product that you can get through debspets.com. It's a bag of about maybe 30 little chill doggies. What do? They chill the doggy. That's what they do. They have all natural herbs and they have the lion's mane mushroom. So the lion's mane mushroom actually goes right into the brain. It's like a cognitive thing that just takes the dog down a notch. Then it has all kinds of calming ingredients like catnip. I know that sounds crazy, but catnip for dogs calms the dog down. Complete opposite than what it does for a cat. It also has rosemary, passion flower, lemon balm. All of these together will calm a dog down. Just like CBD can do the same thing. The chill doggies is really good because you can't overdose. There's been no overdosing on herbs with dogs, the herbs that are safe for dogs. And I would always start about 3 to 4 hours before the fireworks start. First, run them to death, play them to death. Like you said, jump in the water, swim, do whatever you can. A nice calming bath is a great thing to do so that you can start and put the music on so it's nice and soft. Depending on the dog, 1 to 2 chill doggies. For a smaller dog, a larger dog, maybe 2 to 3. Again, you'll know in a half hour, 45 minutes, you're going to know that it's starting to take effect. Some dogs will fight it. So I usually tell people if you have chill doggies on hand, try them a couple days before. So you kind of can see what it's going to take to really just chill your doggy. And then he's going to go to sleep. He's going to be so chill. He's going to go to sleep. And that's what you want. I recommend that anybody who wants to be a good neighborhood hero, take a bag of chill doggies and take a couple of baggies and a pair of tongs, walk around the neighborhood to everybody that has a dog and offer them up. Let them take a picture of the bag so they know what they've got. But you will be blown away at how many people will thank you. I actually set a table up at our local fireworks stand where we live. People can sell fireworks. I set a table up and I shamed the people who were buying them into buying a bag. And I can tell you the best story. A guy bought $2,000 worth of fireworks a few years ago. And I was really giving him a hard time about, you need to spend $40 and buy a bag of this for all the animals in your neighborhood. And he kind of laughed and he didn't. So I finally said, you know what? I feel so strongly about this. I'm going to give you this bag. And then he kind of felt bad. And he said, thank you. Well, I got a call from him because my name and number was on the back of the bag. I got a call from him the day after the 4th of July. And he said, I owe you a huge apology. I need to thank you. I went around to the neighborhood the day before, just like you said. I gave everybody who had animals some chill doggies. And that was the first year that I didn't have the police called on me because my neighbors were pissed off. In fact, they were there watching the fireworks because their dogs were all at home, chilled out. And so every year since then, he has called me and bought a couple bags so that he could be the neighborhood heroes. Everybody was happy. But yeah, so that's how chill doggies work. Again, all natural things like CBD, like chill doggies, are just a great thing to do for our animals. They last about 4 to 5 hours. So you'll definitely want to give them more, 4 or 5 hours in, give them a little bit more. And that way you'll keep them nice and calm through the evening.
All right. Do they need to drink a lot of extra water before or during while they're taking it? Does that kind of help the situation maybe?
Well, of course, always have fresh water available. Yes, definitely. And again, you brought up a good point that you were taking your dog to other people's homes for the evening. When you are moving dogs around, especially during a stressful time, take the water with you that they are used to. Don't depend on the water at your friend's house. Maybe it's well water, maybe it's a different type of water with different bacteria in it. Very important that we don't upset their little tummies by adding a new strain of water. Throw it in a gallon jug, pick their favorite little bowl, and make sure. Also, feeding your dog a little bit earlier than normal on 4th of July is not a bad thing. First of all, you want them to go outside and go poop before the fireworks start. And you want to start the whole calm down process early. So you don't want to get them all amped up with, hey, it's time to eat, And again, that comes from us. If we give a dog a chill doggy, the last thing we should do is put on rock music and start dancing or say, hey, let's go play ball. It's time to have everybody chill. I mean, that's why we call them chill doggies.
It's like giving your child melatonin and then playing a game with them.
Yeah, exactly.
Why would you do that?
You sound like you've had some experience with that.
Just a little.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's a tough time of year. And, we're also into that time where people are getting ready and they're traveling. They're going to family and friends for 4th of July weekend. So it kind of brings up a few other points about traveling with your animal. You want to make sure that animal, if it's going to be in your car, is tethered of some sort, whether it's in a crate or whether it has a doggy seatbelt. You can get doggy seatbelts for $2 and $3 online. A doggy seatbelt is so important because you're driving down the road, you've got your dog. Let's say you get into an accident. It happens. Your dog's going to be ejected just like you would be ejected. We have a seatbelt on to keep us from being ejected from the vehicle. Same thing for the dog. 2 really good stories are kind of sad. One, a couple had 3 dogs in the car and they were all in the back seat, all comfy, cozy. And it was kind of funny because they posted a picture on social media of all 3 dogs laying on the pillows and they were all happy. And they hit black ice and they rolled their SUV 3 times. All the windows popped out and the dogs were all ejected. 2 of the pups ended up in a snowdrift and just kind of like were stunned. The other pup took off running down the highway. Flight or fight syndrome. That's the time it's going to get hit by a car. The poor mother who had a broken leg was literally running down the highway with a broken leg, screaming at her dog who wasn't listening. She said, I would have bet everything I owned it. If I would have told my dog to stop, he would have stopped. Not when they're that scared. So then another story, which is really a sad story, a woman in an RV had a pillow and had her little Yorkie on her lap in their RV, and life is good and doggy gets to look outside. Mommy has her doggy where it's safe. They got broadsided and the airbag went off. The dog and the pillow went up into her face, killed the dog, and fractured bones in her face. So we think that the safest place for them to be is right next to us in our lap. No, they need to be tethered just like you're tethered into the car. So seatbelts critical or a crate. So if you're traveling with your dog to go away for 4th of July, make sure that you're being a good steward and you're doing the right thing by your animal. At first, they may not like it, but they'll get used to it. It's like a kid. He doesn't like to be seatbelted in, but guess what? You don't put him in the car without seatbelting them in or putting them in a car seat. So we need to do the same thing with our pets, dogs and cats.
Yeah.
Now you've talked about the different types of mushrooms, the 2 different types of mushrooms, the borealis and the other one. You've talked about the chill doggies.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit in your experience, the difference between like maybe a prescribed standard medication that you might get from a veterinarian, an anti-anxiety medication. I noticed when I first moved to the area in which I live now, that my dog had some separation anxiety. She was used to being on a ranch, having some land, come and go as she pleases, running all over the place, chasing wildlife. She was used to all of that. And then I stuck her smack dab in the middle of a city where we don't even have a half acre of land, and she can't come and go as she pleases. And one of the first things my vet wanted to do was give her a typical, what you and I would take for anxiety medication. Yeah. So talk about the differences that you've noticed both in health and just general overall effectiveness on the dog, efficacy on the dog compared to the mushrooms and these more natural products to the prescribed medications.
Well, what great question. Yeah, doggy Prozac. I see it more than I would like to see. I mean, unfortunately, big pharma has jumped into the veterinarian world as it has jumped into the human world. Our veterinarians, although we love them and we need them, and their intentions, I believe, are good, they make 34% of their income off of pharmaceuticals. Pharmaceuticals are not natural. They are synthetic. The body wasn't meant to process them. So the liver and the kidneys have to go to extra hard work to process them. Do they work? Yeah, they work. Yeah, it's going to calm your dog down. Yeah, it possibly is going to relieve a lot of things. But why would we put something synthetic into the body if we don't have to? Now, when we talk antibiotics, absolutely. If the dog needs an antibiotic, I get it. It's like a human. But for some of these other things, the natural products are not synthetic. The body can process them. The reason that you know it's okay is you can't overdose on CBD or lion's mane or the mushroom lion's mane and or the Coriolus versicolor. There's no adverse effects. So when you're using something that has no adverse effects, that tells you how safe it is. If I were to give, in fact, we had a really funny story. We had a dog who ate an entire bag. Here's a bag of chill doggies. Ate the entire bag of chill doggies. I got a call from the people in a panic. And I was like, no. Let's call your vet anyway, because I do respect the veterinarian's role. The vet laughed and said this dog's going to be out of it for 4 days. And it was. But had he ate a whole bottle of one of the prescriptions, we'd have been pumping that dog's stomach. That kind of puts it into a nutshell for you. And so how do the mushrooms work? There's different mushrooms for different situations. Lion's mane mushroom. You mentioned a dog who was depressed, who had separation anxiety, possibly dogs who are aggressive, dogs who have lost their owner. And this happens a lot where a dog literally goes into a state of depression. The chill doggies are going to go in, and it's a cognitive thing. It's a neurological thing, brain and nerve support. They're going to go in, and it's just going to calm the mind down so that the mind isn't so worried about what's happening and what's going on. And he can concentrate on things that aren't as stressful. It's very similar to people. It's almost a diversion. And we've seen dogs with separation anxiety. Absolutely, the chill doggies have done wonders for them. We've also seen dogs that have been overly aggressive. Maybe when they go out on their walk, they're charging other dogs. The chill doggies, maybe an hour before they go on a walk, they seem to go on their walk and they're more like la-di-da-di-da-di-da instead of, ooh, I'm going to get that. Ooh, I'm going to get that. They're not as on guard. So it does just take them down a notch. We've got dogs with dementia. I'm older. I'm 67. We never had a dog with cancer. We never had a dog with dementia. We didn't have this when I was a kid. And now 50% of our dogs are dying from cancer. We've got dogs with diabetes. We've got dogs that are obese. We've got dogs with all kinds of issues. So unfortunately, we have to find some natural things to take care of them. And what's going to happen with the chill doggies is anything that's mind related, aggression, being depressed, all of those things, it's going to help. Then you've got dogs who are really extremely ill, dogs who possibly have cancer, big lymphomas, severe allergies. We didn't have dogs with allergies when I was a kid, but it's very prevalent right now where people will say, oh, my dog's allergic to chicken. Well, maybe it's not the chicken, maybe it's the hormones in the chicken, but regardless, we have the Coriolus versicolor mushroom, which is an immune support for your animal. It's so amazing that the Veterinarian School of Pennsylvania has actually put in writing. And when a college puts something in writing, they've dotted their I's and crossed their T's because they don't want their funding to be cut off, especially, by the drug companies. But the Pennsylvania School of Veterinarian Medicine put it in writing. If your dog has cancer and if it takes the Coriolus versicolor mushroom, it will live longer and healthier. Period. I mean, that's huge. That's a huge statement. Something as simple as a mushroom I started this whole segment with my story and cancer. If it wasn't for this mushroom, I wouldn't be 5 years, 3 months cancer free. And I thank God every day that it fell into my lap. And I think that we're just at a different place in the world where people are looking for alternatives for their animals as well as for humans.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, and a lot of regular listeners know my story. I'm a disabled veteran. I'm in my early 40s and was living for a couple years on a fistful of pills every day. And similar to what we're talking about with our animals, I decided if God gives me another 40 years on this planet and I live into my 80s, what kind of effect are these pills going to have? These pharmaceuticals going to have on my body? So about a year and a half ago, and it took me a year to get approved for it, and then another few months to actually get it. I looked out. I worked through the VA and started pursuing a more natural, more homeopathic type of remedy. I mean, if I want to make the most out of my life and healthy in the one body that God's given me here on earth, then I need to not do things that are going to break that body down intentionally. And, the results have been great. Since I've had the surgery back in May, the only medications I take now are for my blood pressure. All my pain meds are as needed only, and all the rest of the stuff. So the effect that a lot of more homeopathic, more natural products can have on our bodies and our systems compared to the big pharma stuff. And don't get me wrong, I'm not one of these guys that has my whole life pushed anti-medicine or any of that.
Right.
There's some people that need these things, and thank the Lord they're there and available if you need them. I'm not 100% against them. I just looked at my life and thought, I should not feel this way at 41 years old. And a lot of it's got to has to do with these medications that I'm on. It has to. And so I can see the similarity in what we're talking about with dogs, right? I mean, just my opinion. I'm no expert on this. I have the same medical degree as Bill Gates. And so, I'm no expert, certainly. But I think, a lot of it has to do with 50 years ago, we were a lot more of a rural country. And not just humans, but dogs also had more area to run and to explore and to get out there and play. So a lot of that might have to do with the obesity numbers compared to today. But there's no doubt in my mind, just like our foods, right? We thankfully now have a health department at the federal level that's beginning to look at some of the preservatives and dyes and whatnot that we put into our foods. But even just 30, 40, 50 years ago, human beings weren't seeing the digestive and systematic problems that we're seeing now. Half of our kids or more are now diagnosed with some form of autism. The list goes on and on and on and on. And it has to do, in my opinion, with diet and big pharma. Those two things, I believe, go hand in hand. And so I can see the correlation between what we're experiencing as human beings and what the animal kingdom is experiencing. I think the two relate directly.
I applaud you, Anthony, for making that choice. And this is what's so important about what you just said. You made the choice. Our animals don't have that luxury. So it's up to us to make the choice. You know that 95% of all the foods that we feed our dogs are made by the 3 biggest candy companies in the country. 95%. It's sad. And what you said, yes, the drugs worked. However, listen to the commercials on TV. This drug is going to fix this. Oh, but here's the side effects. Yep. It's going to fix this, and here's the side effects. And then if you get these side effects, we have another drug over here that'll fix those. And the sad part about it, and you said we have an administration right now that is looking into it. But I think that the drug companies and their advertisements have really have been detrimental to society. I have a doctor friend who said that when a new client comes in, they already know what drug they want him to prescribe. And if he doesn't do it, they get angry. They feel cheated out of an appointment because we become a pill popping society, and we're doing the same thing to our animals, the exact same thing. And you did say about, our dogs used to be out there rummaging and going through the woods and running. Well, at that point, they were eating carcasses. They were eating bark, tree bark. They were foraging for things in the ground and eating them. And they were getting the minerals they needed, even just a carcass with some antlers or some bones that they would chew on. They don't have that luxury anymore. So it's up to us to make sure that we're giving them a good diet, that we're giving them good food, and that we're making sure that they're getting extra minerals that they're not getting from the foods. We really need to be more aware of the fact that they don't have a voice, and we need to do it for them.
Yeah. When you brought up the deer antler, and I think devspets.com actually has some deer antler chew toys for your pups. I think that's a great point. I mean, this is ancient natural food for our animals, and that's a great set. That's a great connection there for sure.
Well, also, if you've got a dog that's constantly licking their paws, and we hear this all the time, my dog won't stop licking his paws. Well, there's a couple of things you can do. One, smell the feet. If the feet smell like Fritos or corn chips, then it's a yeast infection. You can Google, how can I take care of a yeast infection? It's real simple. But if it's not, then it's usually a mineral deficiency. And they're literally licking their paws because they're trying to get from the ground that they walked on any of the minerals that they picked up. So once you give them antlers, and we also have a product called Bucky Bites. If people don't want to give antlers, some people don't like to. It's a little product that has the antler powder baked in it. If they still lick after a while, then it's become a habit, and dogs kind of can like obsess on a habit, like they can obsess on a toy. Then you can give them some chill doggies for a couple weeks to get them to quit thinking about the licking after you've taken care of the mineral deficiency. Yeah.
And I never try to be critical of what another person does with their kids or their pets. I mean, everybody is different, and all parents are. But I had a friend a couple years ago. He said, there's two things I never give to my dogs. I never give them table scraps, and I never give them anything wooden to chew on. I said, why? Those are the exact things they've been eating for thousands of years. Dogs have been chewing on sticks and tree bark, like you said, rummaging for bones. They've been doing these things for thousands of years. Yeah. Thousands of years ago in the New Testament, there's a story about, and even in the Old Testament, there's stories about dogs in palaces and in with people, and they're eating the scraps from their tables. Dogs have been doing this for thousands of years, and it's only within the last 100 years where we've been giving them these not natural products and cooping them up inside these city apartments and homes where the dogs' healths have begun to decline. And so I do think that there is something to that, like I was saying, just with humans. I believe the two go hand in hand. Pharmaceuticals and diet. I believe the two go hand in hand for most mammals, whether you're a human being or you're in the animal kingdom. It goes hand in hand.
Well, and there's also, I mean, we can go on and on for this, but there's also, the vaccination schedule for our dogs. When a pup is no different than the children. When you go to a veterinarian and you have a dachshund, or you go to a veterinarian and you have a Doberman or a Great Dane, and they're giving them the same amount of vaccination, it's like, well, wait, can we talk about this? And there are some things you can do. Dogs don't have to have a rabies shot every year. They can have a titer test, and the titer test will show that the rabies vaccine is still in their body. So there are things that we can do to lessen all of this. And again, our animals give us so much. We owe it to them. We owe it to them to just make sure we're monitoring, what's going in their bellies, what their environment is like, what kind of water we're giving. I mean, one of the number one things that people don't do, they don't wash the dog's water bowl and food dish enough.
Right.
Yep. I asked a class. I did a class for a bunch of little kids, and I said, who washes the dog dish? And someone said, oh, my daddy does it or my mommy does it. And how often do they do it? Like once or twice a month, they put it in the dishwasher. I'm like, okay, so all you guys right here, if you love your animal, you are going to wash their dish every day. We wouldn't eat on a dish that hadn't been washed for a week, would we? I mean, think about it. Simple.
Well, I mean, I am a bachelor. No, anyway.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I really appreciate the time with you guys. I hope that it's a safe 4th of July for everyone. I hope that you've, learned a little bit tonight. I'm always available to help. If anybody has any questions, you can just reach out to me. My email is forthehealthofourpets@gmail.com. I'm more than happy to help with any questions you might have. Like I said, I'm not a veterinarian, but I have been in the pet industry for a lot of years, and all I want to do is help.
Very good, Dyanah. It's super nice to meet you. That was super informative.
Nice.
Anthony, the floor is yours, brother. The floor is yours,
Sorry, I'm
brother.
in parenting mode right now. I didn't. What'd you say?
Yeah, I like it.
It's going to be quick. Put your shoes on. Go now, and you guys are going to come right back.
Oh, speaking of shoes, doggies and their little shoes and their feet, and it's hot out. If you see somebody walking a dog in the middle of the day and it's 100 degrees out, pull over. You know what I do? My husband says I'm going to get shot one of these days. I have little baby booties that I get at the 99-cent store. I will throw them a pack of baby booties and say, at least put these on your dog. Something. I mean, if you don't take off your flip-flops and you can't walk on the ground, neither can he. That's a big problem with our pets this time of year. Put their shoes on.
Absolutely.
I'll go with you in a few minutes. We'll go get it. You mentioned somewhere that was 100 degrees. Wow, that must be nice. We've been well over 100 degrees here for a couple of weeks now in southern Arizona. So,
Yeah, well, we're in Boulder City, Nevada. We had 109, and then boom, we were down to 90. It's like, what happened? Yeah, it's been crazy.
Yeah, I've been dying today. It's been like what? I think we hit 75 and rainy.
Yeah, it's only 91 right now. That's crazy. That's crazy cool for us.
David, I usually love you, man, but if that's the weather you're having, I don't think we can be friends with that.
That's all right. You'll be tromping all over me when winter comes here.
I prefer a little bit of winter. I don't want to get buried like I was growing up in snow, but a little bit of winter is nice.
Well, Anthony, do I see that it says next to your name, not the real Santa?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know him, but I'm not the real Santa.
Okay. Well, go online and Google the Christmas house in Boulder City, Nevada. That's my house.
The what?
The Christmas house.
Oh, okay.
We own the Christmas house, so you'll have to Google it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you again, Dyanah, for joining us and for this great conversation that we can have. And as always, to everybody watching, we appreciate you joining us as well.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Have a blessed night.
Have a blessed night. We'll talk to you later.